I truly believe that when we're playing white, we should play for the win. We should be attacking, keeping the initiative, and playing some gambit lines is the best way to keep that going. But the problem is, when I face the Sicilian defense, I have always struggled to find a way to break this defense. It's extremely solid, and there's so much theory behind it that it's really hard to know more than your opponent. So, the best option for me, and it suits my style, and I think that it can help you as well, is to play the Smith-Morra Gambit. And this is the next opening we're going to study in this Forking Guide to Chess Openings. So let's take a look at the moves here. Of course, it all starts with pawn to e4. And the Sicilian defense is this answer here, c5. And this move has a point in mind. The idea is to prevent you from playing this other pawn to the center of the board. We would love to play this move, but black is preventing us from doing that. And how can we answer this? Well, the Smith-Morra, some people like to play the pawn right away, and it doesn't matter what black is doing, I just want to put my pawn in the center. And as they recapture, most players are going to just offer another pawn, okay? And when black takes, they take with the knight, and we have a great game of chess here. We're just basically offering a pawn to have a lead in development. But I like to play the Smith-Morra in a slightly different fashion. I put my knight here, so my opponent thinks that I'm going for an open Sicilian, and they might play something like this or this. And in each case, the moves are pretty much the same. That's another reason why I love the Smith-Morra Gambit. The moves don't change very much. You always play similar moves no matter what your opponent does. So your opponent is probably going to think you're going for an open Sicilian and going to play this move next. So they're going to play knight here or pawn here. Let's imagine they play the knight out, and you're going to follow by surprising your opponent. After they take the pawn, you are not going to recapture with the knight, okay? You are going to offer another pawn by playing c3. And black has nothing much better to do here than just take this pawn, right? Otherwise, if they don't take this pawn, we are going to take and have a very strong center in this position. So more often than not, black is just going to take this pawn, and after they take, we recapture with the knight. And now we have a huge lead in development. We have a central pawn, two knights already developed. The lines for the bishops are very, very open. We can castle very quickly, bring the rooks to the center. This opening is extremely powerful. So here, our plan is to just develop this bishop here, castle, open the way for the rooks to play, and then put our rooks here to the center. This bishop is the trickiest piece to develop. We are sometimes going to play it here or here or here. It depends a lot on what black does. This is probably the hardest piece to figure out where it goes. Okay, so probably black is going to play some developing moves here. Here, black plays e6. We're going to play the bishop out, like I told you guys. And next move, we're going to castle. Probably black is preparing here an attack against our bishop, in which case we can just retreat safely to this square, and if they insist, we can just move here. It's fairly easy for us to escape from this attack. Just drop the bishop back, not a big deal. They're going to try to develop their pieces as well. We're going to move the queen with the idea of bringing this rook here to the open file, X-raying the queen. And after moving this bishop as well, we're going to bring the other rook. So we're going to have these two open files. We have this open file, this half open file to attack with our rooks. This position is really good for white. Black's going to develop. We're going to put our rooks to the center. We can play the bishop here in this case, trade. And here, some people like to play like this or just bring the rook to the center of the board. It's really interesting. We have many options here as white. And this game is just really good. We have a lot of activity, a lot of pieces developed. We are just attacking and keeping the initiative here. This move should be on the radar. Sometimes we're going to play this move, and it's going to be very, very strong against our opponents. To keep this pawn here, it's going to be very, very powerful in the future. Of course, your opponent might try to play some different moves. So instead of playing knight here, they might go for the pawn, but it doesn't make much of a difference. You're going to play similar moves. Pawn to d4, they take. You don't recapture with the knight, you offer another pawn, and as they take, you recapture, and you have a very similar position. Just the difference is, it's not this knight developed here, it's just this pawn pushed. But you're going to play similar moves. You're going to develop your bishop out, castle, move the queen away, bring the rooks to the center. This bishop, you try to find a place for it. That's pretty much it. So black develops the knight, we develop the bishop. Next move, we're going to castle. And again, move the queen, move the rook to x-ray the queen here. Try to find a place for our bishop here. We can try to attack this knight here, try to exchange some pieces, or maybe play a different move. In this study here, I put the bishop here, okay? Because, you know, this pawn move can happen, or some pushes can happen here too. We have some interesting options to play. If black plays the pawn himself, you can reroute your bishop, no problems at all. Bring the rook to the center. You have a very powerful attack here with your rooks. Your pieces are all well developed and coordinated. This position is really great. Whereas black, on the other hand, still underdeveloped, right? So this opening is really great to keep the initiative and keep attacking your opponent against the Sicilian defense. Well, what happens if your opponent does not take your pawn? Let's take a look at that, okay? Let's imagine you play this move, c3, and your opponent decides not to take your pawn. They play something like e5, trying to hold on to this pawn. Well, in this case, you are going to take their pawn, okay? You are going to be the one taking. And establish a very strong center with two central pawns. And it's very hard for black to attack you. Here they might try to capture your pawn, you recapture with your knight, and next move you're going to develop your knight. And you can see this position here. If you have a good memory, you're probably going to remember the first video in the series, The Working Guide to Chess. I told you guys, I taught you guys how to play the 4-knight Scotch. And this position is very similar to the 4-knight Scotch. There are some differences in the pawn structure here for black, but you have the knights in the same position. So here it's very easy to develop. The bishops have open diagonals. The queen also have open diagonals. You can castle very quickly, bring your rooks to the center of the board. It's a very easy position to play as white. So black's gonna try to develop. You have to do the same moves, remember? Take the knight here because this is pinned. Remember, this pawn is being attacked. It's very similar to the Scotch, 4-knight Scotch. If you have not seen this video, go and watch this video. It's really great. They're going to take, and you're going to play similar moves. You're going to protect the pawn with your bishop here. Remember, this is under attack, okay? So you defend your pawn. You can trade your pawn here. It's the same move, very similar. You can castle. And from now on, black's probably going to do the same thing. You can trade the knight, develop your bishop, and you have a great game in front of you here. You have a great position. You can bring your rook to the open file, not this one, but this one. You can develop your other rook. You can try to attack this bishop. There are many things you can do here. For white, this is just a great position as well. Okay, so that's my recommendation against the Sicilian defense, to play the Smith-Morra Gambit, which is a very strong gambit line. Remember, as black takes, you don't recapture with your knight, you offer another pawn, expecting black to take it, so you can develop your other knight. So this is going to be the position you are looking for. You're looking for your opponent to capture, and then you recapture with the knight. And here you have a great position. You have your starting position, easy to develop and easy to play. So if you like this video, please share, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And I see you guys in the next one.